The sun was sinking low over the Montana plains when Clara rode into the small ranch town, her clothes torn, her eyes hollow, and her hands trembling. She hadn't spoken a word for miles, just kept whispering to herself, "Don't look back, don't look back." When she reached the main barn, the rancher, Daniel, was finishing his day's work. He saw the horse stumble, saw the girl almost fall, and rushed to catch her before she hit the ground. She flinched when he touched her, shrinking away as if his hands burned. "You're safe here," he said softly, kneeling beside her. But she shook her head, tears welling in her dirt-streaked eyes. "No one's safe," she whispered. "Not when it's your own blood that hurts you." Daniel's jaw tightened. He had seen pain before, broken bones, loss, starvation, but this was different. She wasn't just running from something. She was running from someone she once trusted. When he finally got her inside, gave her water, and sat by the fire, she spoke the words that made the air in the room turn heavy. "My brother, he defiled me. And now he's hunting me for telling." The fire cracked. Daniel's heart pounded. He wanted to say something, anything, but no words could carry the weight of what she'd just confessed. Instead, he stood up and went to the window, staring out into the night. "What's his name?" he asked quietly. "Eli," she said, her voice trembling. "He wears our father's ring." The next morning, the rancher saddled his horse before dawn. Clara begged him not to go, tears streaking down her face. But Daniel only placed his hat on his head and said, "There are things a man can't unhear, and wrongs a man can't let stand." When he returned that evening, his shirt was torn, and his knuckles were bloodied. He didn't speak a word. He simply handed Clara the gold ring with the family crest, laid it on the table, and said quietly, "You're safe now." Then he walked back into the fading light, leaving the door open behind him, and the wind carried away the last echo of vengeance across the lonely plains. For days, Clara barely spoke. The ring sat on the table, glinting in the firelight like a cursed memory. She stared at it often but never touched it. The weight of what had been done, and what Daniel had done for her, hung between them like an invisible wall. He went about his chores quietly, feeding the horses, mending the fence, and checking the cattle. But every time he passed the cabin window and saw her sitting there, his chest tightened. One evening, as the sky burned orange and purple, Clara stepped out with a blanket draped over her shoulders. She watched him work for a while before finally finding her voice. "You didn't have to do it," she said, her tone soft but trembling. Daniel didn't look up. "Some things need doing," he muttered. "A man like that doesn't deserve to walk free." She took a hesitant step closer. "And what about you? You think that makes it right?" He paused, the rope in his hand falling slack. "No," he admitted after a long silence. "But sometimes right and wrong don't live on the same side of the river. Sometimes, you just do what your gut says and live with the weight." Tears welled in her eyes again, but this time they weren't only from pain. They were from gratitude and guilt. "He was all I had left," she whispered. "And now he's gone because of me." Daniel finally turned, his eyes meeting hers. "No, Clara," he said firmly. "He was gone long before I ever found you. A man who breaks blood ties like that, he stops being family the moment he lays hands on innocence." The words hit her deep. She broke then, falling to her knees as sobs racked her small frame. Daniel knelt beside her, unsure if he should reach out. Finally, he did, slowly, carefully, and she didn't pull away this time. She leaned into him, trembling, and he held her as the night wind swept through the ranch. Weeks passed. Life began to take shape again. Clara started helping with the animals, cooking meals, and tending the garden. The haunted look in her eyes softened, replaced by quiet determination. She was healing, one sunrise at a time. One morning, she found Daniel sitting by the creek, staring at the ring resting in his palm. "You can't keep carrying that," she said gently. He looked up, surprised by her steadiness. "And what should I do with it?" She smiled faintly. "Let it go. Let the river take what it needs." He hesitated, then stood beside her at the water's edge. Together, they watched as the ring sank beneath the surface, vanishing into the current. The air felt lighter, the burden a little less heavy. When they turned back toward the ranch, Clara slipped her arm through his. "You saved me," she said quietly. Daniel shook his head. "No, Clara. You saved yourself. I just stood guard while you remembered how." The wind rustled the tall grass as they walked home, Two broken souls finding peace on the same dirt road where pain once began.